how can New Yorkers just migrate to another city and hustle like that? How did they get away with that?
Let's talk about Poe. Now he did you fucking DC niggas dirty. I'm gonna talk about it. What up, man? It's your boy Knight Rider 707 coming back with the second episode to the Welcome to DC segment titled The Undeniable Truth About Alpo in DC. Now, if you click on this damn video, don't click off. That must mean that you are intrigued by these stories just as I am. And if you have not checked out the first episode, it's the Big Head Gary story and My Brother's Keeper. You can stop right now and go back and watch the joint. If you don't feel like it, then just put it on hold, save it, and then watch this video. Nobody has done these type of videos from this perspective, not in this area. Let's get it. The same question keep popping up. How? How can this dude come in and take over? That's what the world wants you to believe, that he took over. Now, I purposely titled this video The Undeniable Truth About Alpo in DC to kill all the false narratives that somehow he had the city on lock. That is far from the truth. Alpo was not top dog. He had a few customers and also spent most of his time on the run, dipping in and out of spots like Chapter 3 nightclub and the Metro Club in DC, looked after by the likes of Wayne Perry and his crew. Everybody already know the murder rate in DC in the late 80s and early 90s. Bodies were dropping heavy. Coincidentally, this was the time when Alpo came to stay in the city. Now, the first point, Alpo was supposedly getting like 30 or so joints, aka bricks or birds. So there is no way that he could have ran DC with that. Come on, man. You gotta use your mind. Rayford went in 89.
Rayford Edmond is the kind of drug kingpin who has terrorized America's city, and Edmond was sentenced to life in prison without parole.
We all know that the Connect was still flooding the streets of D.C. after that.
A notorious drug thug known as the Al Capone of cocaine managed to turn his prison cell into the headquarters for a drug ring. Correspondent Rita Braver tells how he pulled it off.
And reportedly sold 1,700 pounds of cocaine a month.
That is documented. So, at what time of year did Poe run the city? The more you think about it, the more it begins to make sense. Now let's examine how Alpo was able to get his introduction, finding his place within the mix of the street guys. It is documented that the woman he was staying with named Karen had a hand in that. She knew the ballers and all the spots where they hung. Now let's be 100% honest and unbiased. Alpo took initiative and capitalized off of the introduction, gaining some clientele in the process. We're not going to take that away from him. He was far from a dummy. You see, Alpo's strong point has always been his ability to communicate and cut into strangers in New York. And in New York, his personality made him a popular guy. It made him likable to the street cats.
He's a real likable guy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like, and a lot of people who know Alpo, we know him from Harlem.
But in DC, nobody really cared about him like that. No one treated him like a celebrity or rolled out the red carpet when he came. I mean, Iz said it himself.
We pumping. So one day we at the Easter homecoming. So they clowning Alpo the rap about his baby mother, which is my homegirl Fuzzy. Man, you fall in love with a man, Lil Sparky is hitting him. So they pulled me. I'm young and wild, so I'm like, man, that's my bitch. I'll be fucking her too. Whatever.
They were clowning him for being a sucker for love over hood rats. And you gotta understand, someone like Alpo, a man that was used to being praised in New York, a man with ego, was not used to being clowned. But DC had its own standards of what cool was. It was a much, much higher standard, and you couldn't just walk into the town and become that guy. It wasn't just personality traits, it was respect, it was word of mouth, it was a few things that took time to build. Frey didn't become Frey overnight, neither did Tank and Iz. They worked for that rep. Alpo was an outsider and he was treated as such on a large scale, preyed upon and plotted against. You see, a DC native know not to trust any old body. They also know not to ever move around crazy. What I mean is not walking up to random guys trying to do business because you think they can make some money off him. It takes time to build real relationships in the streets, and talking fast, smiling, and being too friendly to strangers whom you don't know will make you a target quick. A target to be killed, robbed, or even kidnapped.
I did hear you got shot.
I got shot because they was trying to kidnap me in D.C.
DC is not a city that can have one king, and it damn sure can't have someone move in and become one of the ones. I believe Alpo realized DC wasn't New York after he almost died. It became clear to him that he couldn't do what he did in New York, not in this town. I also believe Wayne didn't save Poe, he just bought him some time. Alpo was able to bribe Wayne with money for protection. He said it himself.
I seen the bigger picture. Right. I said, if I get this kid out, and the reputation that he has, then all that'll come on my side.
If I bring him in, then all of his reputation come over here to me. Why? Because he was not one of the ones. No one will follow him. He had some money, and it allowed him to basically hire protection. And that's no different from Tekashi 6ix9ine having a 9-trade gangster surrounding him. Now, do you think 6ix9ine ran that game? Nah, he paid them. Yet 6ix9ine is not held in the same regard as Alpo in New York. Why? The similarities is there. Both of them were loud, ordered hits. Even though no one died around 6ix9ine, he still ordered the hit. Both of them created a character that they thought was invincible. Both loved the clout, and both of them eventually became government informants in the end. Yet Alpo said he ran the town after Rayford was arrested. But remember, DC is not a city that can have one king, so that was impossible. Plus, DC is broken down into 4 sections: Southeast, Southwest, Northeast, and Northwest. Even with Wayne by his side, that wouldn't have been enough to dominate every section of the city. Everybody from here knows that. Truth be told, Wayne couldn't even roam freely like that. You can't run a city that way. If you can't come out, you're pretty much a ghost. A lot of people, especially out-of-town guys, need a champion, someone to relate to, and it make me raise an eyebrow to see so many people ignore certain facts, ignore the wrongdoing that an individual did, like killing their friends, killing to get closer to a woman, very important history that gets swept under the rug just because you think someone has a likable character. All because you think someone you idolize came into a city and did what they wanted. But the truth is always there, you just have to read between the lines. And Alpo told many lies because his character was important to him. He claimed there were a few crews out to get him, but they weren't for real because they knew he had killers with him. Yet Alpo had to move around from hotel to hotel and stay out of the streets because of people hunting him, such as phrase people. Another inconsistency in this story that I noticed was the why surrounding Andre Tank Johnson's murder. If you listen to the Alpo interview, you would notice he acts as if it was all Gary. Listen closely as he said, we killed him for 2 reasons.
His name was Andre. Right. Well, yeah, we killed him. Yeah, we killed him. And this guy was spending a lot of money, man. Killed him for 2 reasons, actually. One is he was messing with my man Gary's girl. Okay. And we told him to leave her alone. Okay. That was the main reason. Because
Yet he never mentions the second reason. He made it seem like Tank did the unthinkable to Gary by sleeping with his baby mother, as if dudes haven't been sleeping with each other's women since the beginning of time. But remember what I said earlier, Alpo's strong point was his ability to communicate. He tells the story in a way that makes it digestible and understandable, all to save face. You gotta read between the lines, man. He also says, I get to keep the girl. I got the 270 now, meaning we killed 2 birds with 1 stone because I now get to have his girlfriend all to myself and keep the $270K that he was bringing to me to buy this product. Gary didn't need Alpo permission to kill Andre. Him and Tank had conversations prior to the murder without Alpo even being present. I mean, these are 2 real DC dudes who familiar with one another. That's common sense. Also, if Alpo didn't want Tank dead, why would he give Gary $100K? Think about it. Would you give a person $100K if they killed someone you were doing business with? Probably not unless you were in on it. I think Alpo was a bit of an exaggerator when it came to telling a story, and people ran with all of the info without using logic and analyzing his words. Words are powerful. Alpo understood that. He cared so much about his image that he used tricky words to convince the rest of the world that his actions were justified. He made you guys believe that he controlled DC when he didn't. He made you think Gary was 100% responsible for Tank's murder when he wasn't. Man, there's so much to cover from this era, even surrounding this guy by itself. I came to the conclusion, I was thinking about this earlier, man, and I said, I really think dudes are infatuated with guys. like from the standpoint of how females are. And that's what I think it is with Alpo. Think about it. Who the hell where the world would allow them to get away with killing their so-called best friend, killing somebody else just to take the money and their girl, like doing all this treachery, and people would give a pass to? I think it's because it's Alpo. I think if you insert certain people who have like a really good way of communicating with people and making people feel comfortable, making people open up to them, those type of individuals, you insert anybody like that, I feel like these dudes out here, like I said, who are charmed by other men, will give them a pass for any type of treachery. Like this man done told and put away Wayne Perry for forever. Like he snitched and basically was able to go back home to Harlem. Now I understand a lot of people will be like, well, he's not here to defend himself anymore. Well, to be honest with you, the man's case is public and he has defended himself in public. He's, you know, there's video or voice recordings of him talking to different people like Queen's Flip, that dude Up for Debate TV, which, by the way, I don't understand how anybody from DC could be in full 100% support of Up for Debate TV. You could watch his platform, but I don't see how anybody can actually be in support, meaning donating, giving him money and stuff like that, buying the stuff that this man got, Alpo wristbands and all types of stuff. I don't see how anybody from the district can be in full support of that. Like, that's crazy because he's made DC look bad more than once. More than once. He's talked crap about Ears, Sean Branch, and everybody else. This dude is like literally riding for Alpo like nobody else, like as if he was a family member or something, or close friend. So like I said, everything is public, so I don't want to hear any of that. He's not here to defend himself and this and that. This is all public information, and I'm just sharing my opinion, man. It's Night Rider 707. This episode 2, the undeniable truth about Alpo and DC. Go ahead, leave a comment in the comment section. Click that notification bell. I want all the smoke. I don't care if it's good comments, bad comments, however you feel. We all entitled to our own opinion. All the thing I say is just keep it respectful, man. Just keep it respectful. Other than that, man, we'll see y'all next time for episode 3. Out.